you for downloading this podcast. I know that what I have to share with you today from our Life Clinic series, Living in Faith Every Day, will bless you. Remember to like us at Dr. Millicent Hunter and go to our website, MillicentHunterMinistries.com. Now prepare yourself for our podcast message that is guaranteed to bless your life today. It might sound strange to say this, but pain can be a good thing because pain is an indicator that something is wrong. Pain is an indicator that something must be addressed. What I want to share with you today is mental terrorists and psychological assassins. You know, when I had a situation where a friend had a medical crisis, I felt helpless as I watched my best friend lie helpless on a cold, hard floor receiving medical attention. I was more terrified as I drove beyond and behind the ambulance, wondering what was going on inside as the paramedics tended to her. The local hospital was just 10 minutes away, but the ride seemed like an eternity. And in the midst of that difficult situation where my friend experienced a medical crisis, I kept thinking about the ride and how what I should have said and what I should have done for her to avoid that terrifying situation. After all, there were times when we talked about certain things that indicate perhaps a heart attack or some challenge. Worrying about a situation that I could not change only increased my anxiety. A meaningless medical exercise of worry and anxiety over a situation that is beyond your control. It is a psychological assassin because the stress that it causes is detrimental to your health and it's detrimental to your well-being, and it does nothing to solve a problem. You know, negative thoughts are like mental terrorists. If they assassinate your rational thinking, plague your mind, and cloud your reasoning and judgment so that you're not able to think clearly. And when you are not able to think clearly, you cannot address a problem or even design a strategy to help you solve the problem that is before you. I recalled and thought about the events of that day over and over again, as if thinking about them would change something. What could I have done differently when my friend had a medical crisis? Could I have said something that would have made my friend alter her behavior? What if this was a heart attack? What if her condition was fatal? What if I lost my best friend? All of those questions flooded my mind. And to some extent, I maybe just for a moment or so might have blamed myself. I wasn't the one who collapsed on the floor. The paramedics didn't come for me, and yet something changed that day. I knew that neither my friend nor I would ever be the same after that experience, regardless of the outcome. Let me talk about life experiences. You know, this story is all too familiar. It depicts what so many people are experiencing in life problems and challenges that seem to come on suddenly and without warning. Problems and challenges are life-changing and life-altering because you know that even if you survive a crisis, you will never, ever be the same. Sometimes the symptoms of a medical challenge are ignored. You can talk to a person who has, for example, had a heart attack, and they will tell you that there were warning signs, but they refuse to respond to them. People who have experienced a heart attack, they will tell you how going to a doctor for an evaluation meant an interruption in their daily life. Somehow, it seemed easier to overlook and ignore the warning signs and hope that everything would be all right. You know, a problem or challenge in your life is the same way. There are always warning signs that something is terribly wrong. There are always warning signs that something is out of balance in your life. And sometimes those warning signs are subtle, but they're there. Devastating things happen in our lives and we ignore the warning signs, or we simply overlook them until they force us to pay attention to them and do something. Over the years, I have counseled hundreds of people with relationship problems in a marriage, in a friendship, in a family. Many times people came to me saying that they were completely unaware that there was a problem in their relationship or their situation. And after several sessions, they would invariably admit that, yeah, there were signs. Yeah, in fact, there were many of them, but I ignored them, or I just refused to pay attention, hoping that they would somehow work themselves out. A person suffering from a physical crisis has a limited yet crucial amount of time to address their physical problem. And it is during that crucial period of time that intervention is most beneficial and productive. If the proper medical intervention does not take place in that crucial period of time, in the situation of a heart attack, a person will die. When a heart attack, a challenge, a problem takes place in your life, it is so important to take time to address your problem. Every single warning sign, however subtle it might be, it is a wake-up call, and it is an attention getter from God. That attention getter says to you there's an area of your life that you need to pay attention to. If you pay attention to the wake-up call and heed the warning signs, just as a physical challenge, for example, a heart attack victim survives, you will survive and thrive. And you will discover that God's plan and God's purpose for that crisis has eternal benefit and is designed to enrich and develop you as a person. That is why it is so important to step into the Life Clinic by way of this podcast and to live in faith every day. Remember, God's Word is a roadmap and it contains prescriptions for successful living. Live in faith every day. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Make sure that you like us at Dr. Millicent Hunter, and certainly go to our website, MillicentHunterMinistries.com. Pass the word that this podcast is going around the world and blessing so many people. Until next time, stay blessed.